everybody. Welcome to the Takeoff Podcast presented by Makefield Putters. And the Eagles are on the clock. They're going to have the 23rd pick in the draft. Howie Roseman has done a great job in recent memory with his draft picks. He did say he thinks about the mistakes in the first round in previous years. He thinks about it every day. So that has helped him learn how to make better first-round draft picks. Here is an interview with Howie leading into the NFL draft this week. All right, let's welcome in Howie Roseman. Thank you for doing this every year before the draft.
Yeah, it's kind of good luck. I think it's like it's a rite of passage as we get around draft time. So thanks for having me.
You got it. Hopefully good luck this year. And Howie, when you look at this team right now, do you feel going into this draft that you have any needs that you need to address on the team?
Well, you're always, when you're putting your roster together, looking for upgrades. You're always trying to put together a 90-man roster where you have, 90 guys that you think are competing for the 53, where you're competing with starters on 53 guys. Like, that's the ideal situation. So if you're in the situation we're in, we're always looking for incremental upgrades on our roster. And certainly when you get into the draft, being able to add these kind of players, it's going to help our football team.
Now, when you look back over these recent years, Devontae Smith is the last offensive player you took in the first round. So you've had a run of taking defensive players. And you've talked about having a lot of high-priced, very good players on offense. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's going to continue to skew going defense in this draft?
Well, the most important thing is making sure we come out with the best player available to us. I think once you start getting into needs and once you start forcing guys, you get in a situation where you may not even fix the problem that you have. So it's so hard to find good players in the draft. We got to stick to our process, stick to our board. Whoever's there at 23 that we think is the best player, they're going to help our football team short-term, long-term. We never know where the needs are going to arise as we go about building this team in the future.
You've been going over all the defensive players the last couple of years with Vic Fangio. What is it like now having Sean Mannion coming in here? What is it like watching film with him and trying to find the players that fit his system?
Yeah, impressive guy. Obviously a guy who's been around football. His dad was a coach, played in the NFL, been around great people. Bringing him in and the staff that he has, the energy they have, what they've added to the process, and really talking about how each player would fit in their scheme, their usage for that player. It's a fun time of year.
Do you think it's a little different now that you're looking for players that are going to fit into Sean Mannion's system?
Well, the beautiful part about this process is a great player is a great player. I think that any coach will tell you, give me the great player and I'll make sure that we utilize their system, their skill set into our system. And so he's the same way. He's saying, hey, tell me who the really good players are. I'll find a way to make sure they're involved.
And Nick Sirianni, he talks about the connection that guys bring, the football IQ, and then the love of football and things like that, competitiveness, things like that. How much does he influence you after watching a lot of the film about what players he likes because of those intangibles?
Yeah, we're aligned on that. We know how important it is to bring the right people into this building, whether that's players, whether that's staff. It's so important that this team is connected, that this team is together. And you do that by having great background information, making sure that you're bringing the right people in. That's our first job. When you get good people who are good players, they're going to maximize their potential. They're going to help other people around them maximize their potential. And so, we have deal breakers as we go into this draft process. We take this responsibility of who we bring into this building, who we bring into this city, really personally.
You've been drafting players for a long time now. What would you say you've learned the most from the first draft you're involved with to now? Things that you've noticed and when you're making selections, what's the thing you've learned the most?
Well, I think the thing that I've learned the most is no matter how much you may want a particular position in the draft and how much you may want a particular skill set, you can't force that. You're only limited to the players who are available this particular year. If you go and you force a need, you continue to have that need, and you may miss on a player that you may not have the need now, but is going to really help you going forward. And so we'll be really committed to this process and making sure that we take the best players. It may look like a player we're taking now may not have the biggest impact on our team this year. That will yet to be seen. But at the end of the day, we look at the draft as what's long-term best for the Philadelphia Eagles.
You mentioned that you think about it almost every day, some of the misses you had in the past. But you've been on a really good run here, getting really, really good players. Have you noticed any thread or common things amongst all these picks you've had over the last 4 or 5 years, let's say?
Yeah, I think the picks have been easy. You sit there, your board reads to you, it speaks to you. Us being able to go through all the work, which really we'll start for the 2027 draft. We'll start that in May and we'll go all the way through, this time of year next year. And so when you do that much work, when you really have a good feel for these players, who they are, what their skill set is, who they are as people, you got to trust that process. And so you got to take the draft and put it into a separate entity and understand that when those 3 days end, we may have another need. There may be another position that may be on our depth chart that we feel like we have to address, but there'll be time to do that.
I mean, you've hit on Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, this past year, Jahad Campbell, Andrew Makuba. They've come in and played right away. Go back to Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. You got other guys. Do you notice anything about those guys as a group where they're able to come in right away and contribute the way they have?
Well, you're able to see those guys play at a high level against high-level competition, and you're able to see them do the things that we're asking them to do. And so for us, vision about what the player is, what the player can become, what the tools in the body the player has, what they can do for our specific scheme. When you have those conversations and you go into draft understanding, hey, if we draft this player, this is what it's going to look like on our team. I think those things work out.
I know you love adrenaline. You love the juice of the draft. So when you look back over the last couple of years, Jahad Campbell, was he going to be there or not? And then we saw you and Jeffrey Lurie, Cooper DeJean. Could we get him? Are you calmer now because of all your experience with the draft, or you're still just full of adrenaline during this process?
Well, I think there's two parts of that. I love what I do. I feel very privileged to be the general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles. I take that responsibility very seriously. I love the draft. I love picking players. I love seeing how those players, start their lives in Philly. And we have so many examples of guys who've made their life in Philadelphia because they've been drafted as Eagles. And so I think when we're able to make that call, it changes their life, and in a lot of ways it changed all of ours too.
We've been talking the last couple of years, Lane Johnson, he's coming back for another year, but we don't know how much longer. And obviously tackle's a big thing in the draft, and people have been saying maybe last year they would have done it. Do you think this is the time? Because you've done a good job in years past sometimes of looking ahead.
Well, it depends who's there. You tell me who's going to be on the board at 23, I'll probably be able to tell you who we're going to pick.
How about the 3 offensive linemen you drafted last year? How are they coming along?
Yeah, I think when you look at year 1 to year 2, you're hoping for a big jump. You're hoping for a big jump from a scheme perspective. You're hoping for a big jump from a development perspective. And so, we'll see those guys come back into the building next week. Can't wait to get our players back here. We're expecting all of those guys to have worked really hard in the time that we weren't with them. And then obviously this process where they're with us instead of really training for the combine and getting ready for the draft. We are expecting a big jump year 1 to year 2.
And you mentioned, I think, this offseason, you really want to have all shapes and sizes of receiver. You've added 3 receivers now. You've got a large receiver room. Have you accomplished what you wanted to accomplish? I know there's a lot of receivers in the draft available to, but have you accomplished what you wanted to accomplish?
When you look at the receiver position, I think you can look at it just like you look at O lineman or D lineman. It's hard to have enough of those guys. And through the course of the year, we're trying to play 20 games to get where we want to go. And through the course of that, you're going to need guys to step at a high level, whether it's on the offensive line, whether it's on the defensive line, whether it's at the wide receiver position. A lot of times we're playing 3 of those guys at the same time, just like, we're playing a bunch of offensive linemen. So we'll continue to look at ways to improve at that position and every other position on the football field.
Final question for you. In years past, you have told us going into the draft, if you had to play a football game right now, you could line up and you think you're going to win a lot of games. Do you feel that way about this group right now?
Yeah, for sure. Feel really confident in the guys that we have in the building. I think that we went into free agency hoping that we could address a couple needs so we can go into the draft feeling free. Now, again, nobody's got a perfect football team. There's a lot of areas that we can improve, but I promise one thing, we'll do whatever we can in our power to improve in those areas.
All right, best wishes in the draft. Thank you, Howie.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Hey, I'm John Clark, and we are here in Bensalem, PA at Makefield Putters. And I got to tell you, we want to thank them for being our new sponsors of the Takeoff Podcast. And I've got putting issues when I get out there. I'm 6'5", and I had to get a custom putter. When I got this custom putter here, it changed my putting game. When it's wintertime and we go get jackets, different size people need different size jackets. Well, we got to get a custom putter for our size, our type of swing and everything. They break it all down for you. They build up the putter from scratch. They have all the data, the analytics, the statistics to get you to be a good putter. And when I came here to Makefield Putters and I started to use my custom putter, I gotta tell you, I make it with Makefield. So next time you're on the course with Makefield Putters, go birdies.
Ignite the Orange Flyers Bus Tour. Playoff hockey is back, and we're celebrating with special guests and exclusive swag. Go to NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com for the full schedule. Sponsored by Toyota, proud presenting partner of the 2026 Philadelphia Flyers Playoffs.
All right, hey everybody, we are joined by Nick Dawkins, and congratulations on this whole process going into the NFL draft. And you got to meet with the Eagles.
Yeah, I did.
How cool is that?
Man, just full circle. It's full circle. So this whole process, I think, has been full circle. You grow up watching these teams, seeing players, seeing coaches, and then seeing them in real life. It's like, wow, just sobering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me an idea of maybe somebody who, like, you a little starstruck, or somebody you meet.
Honestly, Coach Sirianni, like he's a unit. Like, he's a pretty big guy. So I didn't know that.
He has been working out.
Yeah, he's been getting it in, man. I saw him, like, wow, okay, like that's what he looks like in real life, the same as on TV. You know what I mean? But it's just seeing it in real life. It's just it's full circle.
Now, Nick Sirianni always likes to test the competitiveness of guys that come in. Did you hoop it up with them?
No? Didn't get a chance to hoop it up today. I know. I get strictly business.
Yeah. What were the conversations like with the Eagles? And does it become surreal knowing that your dad played in this town and you've grown up in the area?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, growing up, you can't escape it. Like, Philadelphia runs in the Dawkins family name. Like, that's who we are. That's what we do. So just conversations about how I got here, where I'm from, who I am, myself, not just my family, my relatives and such. And it's been good. It's good for them to have interest in me and learn about me. And obviously, I know everything about them. So it's been awesome.
All right, now let's set the record straight, because when we do the Wikipedia with you, obviously your dad was Darryl Dawkins, played in the city of Philadelphia. Brian Dawkins.
Cousin.
Yeah.
Distant
Is it like distant?
Distant cousin.
Okay.
Distant cousin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you have the name Dawkins, how much pride do you take in that?
Everything. And if your last name is Dawkins, you may be related to me. There's a lot of them running around, and we all got big noses, so you can tell. You got to know what's going on. But I take full pride in it. I've said this before, but your last name is the greatest gift you can be given, and it's your duty and your job to add more value to it every single day. And I truly take that to my life and really to my morals. Everything that I do, I hope, adds more value to my last name.
Well said. And growing up as the son of Darryl Dawkins, give me an idea of how early you learned how to almost be a pro of life, not just sports, but life.
I would think, to be honest, and maybe this is more Gen Z of me, but social media usage. My mom instilled in me when I was young that anything I post, anything I say is also a reflection of my dad's reputation and the brand that he's built. So I always, when I was young, monitored my social media usage, what I was saying, the message I was conveying, what I was retweeting and all that. I knew that it meant more, because it wasn't just about my reputation, it was about my family and my dad as well.
And obviously, you've got a great head on your shoulders, because you've got a foundation and you won the Warfel Trophy. What kind of honor was that? Because it not only recognizes you on the field as a leader and everything that you do on a football field, but what you're doing off of it.
Man, it's just humbling, to be honest with you. I'm appreciative to Danny Worth for what he's done, and honoring people like that. And for me to be in the same conversation with him, I don't even feel like I deserve it, to be honest, because there's so many guys that do their due diligence off the field and give back to people. And to me, I didn't really know it was an award beforehand, and learning more about it and learning the people and the company that I'm in, it just made me want to do more. And I hope, Michael Taft, the one from Texas this year, the great stuff that he's doing in the community, I just hope that message just keeps going through and keeps transcending to other in the youth and giving back when you get this platform that we've been bestowed.
Now, you're well-spoken. You're
I
a well-spoken
appreciate it.
guy. And did you learn that from an early age? Being the son of Chocolate Thunder, like personality can
for
come
sure.
out?
I mean, man, he had quite a vernacular. And he's from Planet Lovetron, so I went to Lovetron High as well as Parkland High School in Allentown. But yeah, you know what? My dad, he didn't go to college. He was the first player from high school to the NBA, and education was huge for him. He didn't want us to not have the same benefits or the same, drawback that he had. College and education was always huge for him. So we took our studies very seriously, and getting to Penn State, utilizing all my years of eligibility to earn a master's degree, it was important for my mom, important for my dad, and it's my reputation. I work hard in school. I worked hard my whole life. My vocabulary just in school in general, so I might as well speak like it as well.
So your dad had a vocabulary, you were saying?
Yeah, he definitely did. He might have made up some words too and added to his lexicon, but he had quite a vocabulary.
He stretched the boundaries. Yeah. One of the things really impressive about you is your leadership. Where do you think you learned some of the leadership qualities that you have?
I think just learning from great men, to be honest. I've been benefit to really learn from some great men. That's Nick Antonelli, who I'm named after. It's my dad, Darryl Dawkins, and just my high school coach and just people in general. I've been around a lot of great men, and to take the lessons and what's worked for them and implement it into others. But I think part of it is natural, to be honest. Like, just as you, like, telling a story, asking questions, being a natural conversationalist, I think some of it just comes natural. And when I see something that I don't think aligns with a standard or the morals that I have set, I'll call it out. And that's always kind of who I've been, even when I was young.
And growing up in the Philadelphia area, give me an idea of some of the guys you may have watched play center or offensive line, maybe an inspiration for you.
It's got to be Kelsey. It's got to be. I mean, he's changed the way that centers are looked at in the NFL. Obviously, you see the contracts that guys are getting, but just playing in space, the athleticism that's involved, and being the centerpiece and being the keystone, no pun intended to Pennsylvania, but being the keystone of an entire team, having to communicate IDs, having to really have that vocal leadership that comes along with it. Obviously, you saw the speech that he gave after the Super Bowl, but that's all what comes a part of being a keystone of a team, is being that glue guy, being important, and being in the center of everything.
Give me an idea, for the people who grew up in the Delaware Valley, what you took from Allentown, PA, and then what you took from State College going to Penn State.
Okay, I think in Allentown is being underrated. Okay, because when people talk about Pennsylvania, what's the first city that comes to mind? Philadelphia, then Pittsburgh, then everyone's like, what's going on? What's next?
Yeah.
So I think, my people in Allentown are like, what about us? Well, we have a big city. We're the biggest city in the state. Always having that chip on your shoulder, trying to prove something, always trying to show that you have superpowers, that you have something in you that's important and wants to be displayed for the rest of the world. And in Happy Valley, which becomes the third biggest city in the state when there's a game that takes over Allentown, it's performing under the lights, performing under pressure. I mean, when you have 110,000 people in a stadium playing in front of a whiteout, all you want to do is do your job and do what's required of you. And performing under the lights is something that I had to really, learn from. You can see it, you can watch it on TV, but it's different when you're at the epicenter of it all.
And give me an idea of going to Eagles games. Have you been to some Eagles
when I was
games?
young, I got to see Birds versus the Cowboys, see Deshaun Jackson ball out when I was younger, and I mean I always cherish those memories going with my grandparents, and I think that's the full Pennsylvania Northeast PA experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how about Saquon Barkley? What kind of inspiration is he coming from the Allentown area?
Yeah, got to see him play when I was younger. Got to play against his younger brother as well, from Penn State, and then obviously full circle now here with the Birds and winning the Super Bowl. It's inspiring and it's motivating to myself.
What are these visits like when you go visit the Eagles and some other teams? A lot of offensive coaches, they put guys up in front of the board with plays. I mean, what is it like for an offensive lineman in a center when you go on these visits?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question. In terms of being a center, they want to see what you know. You're going to have to make calls out. It's going to be loud. They want to hear your voice. They want to make you scream out a call, especially, in the NFL, it gets rowdy. They got to go to silent cadence and such. They want to see what you took back from your experience in college. They'll be like, install. It's 4th and 1. You're on the 2-yard line. What play are you running? Do you know the formation? Do you know what the wide receivers are doing? And to be honest, that's helped me out. The holistic approach of football with Coach Franklin and Coach Terry Smith and Coach Troutwine, they've implemented in me that you got to know what's going on. The full locomotive machine of this game. Because the game is one small mistake adds up, and that's how a plane crashes, with a series of small mistakes. So how can we eliminate them? Yeah. And eliminate all the small mistakes. So it's been good. Get up, draw plays up, ask what I know about the game. They'll install maybe 2 plays from their playbook, watch 45 minutes of film, and then they'll be like, all right, remember those 2 plays we talked about? Right. Let's go into it. So it's been cool, though. It's been humbling too.
Yeah. When you say they want to make sure you can have a loud call in a noisy stadium, do they actually pipe in noise on a visit? Yeah,
maybe not noise, but they'll want to hear you yell. Yeah, just challenge you a little bit. Like, what'd you say? So, speaking up and using your bass in your voice when communicating with them, so you're not whispering like a church mouse.
Do you actually go through kind of questions that you think you're going to be asked, or in your mind practice kind of like a visit before you go on these visits? Yeah, a lot of the time a lot of times you hear guys go, I went down to Florida and trained. I went down to California to Texas and trained. A lot of the time at these facilities that you train at, they have a football IQ element of it where they'll install plays that are used in the NFL. They'll go over, have you get up in front of 20 guys that you're training with and install a play. And they kind of put you in those mock situations, which was very beneficial for myself and the guys that I train with. Very nice. Yeah. Is it nerve-wracking, this process? At first, everything. Football's the same way.
it's all about the build-up of it. I think that's life in general. It's always the build-up. That's what sells, like the movie trailers, like the beginning of the song when it's rearing in, and then when the moment happens, you're so present and mindful of what's going on that it just is natural.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first time you're thinking about, I got to drive here, you have like an hour drive to the place, and you're playing music, audiobook, whatever you got going on, you're thinking about, what are you gonna ask me? What's the workout gonna be? Then when you lace up your boots and you get on the grass, it's like, this is what I do.
Yeah.
This is what I was called here to do.
So in your mind, where did you start to think in your life that you could possibly play in college and then possibly have a chance of playing in the NFL?
I to be honest with you, I never really thought too much about it. I guess in college when I got my first scholarship offer to Howard University, I was like, okay, I can play. At that point, I was happy with it. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go play at Howard. They offer, I'm gonna go. And then I think as you start building up a little hype, a little momentum, you start to believe in yourself more because it's being validated by external people and forces and people who have more knowledge than you do of the game. And then in college, around when I got my first start and playing through, I kind of start hearing some feedback from some scouts and from some agencies, and they're like, you can play at this level. A lot of people believe that you can. And I think it confirms the sentiment, but that doesn't really come to fruition until you believe it. A lot of other people can believe in you, but until you believe in yourself, change won't happen. So I would say probably at the end of this season, I would truly believe that I could play in the NFL.
That's a great feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So what's it going to be like for the draft weekend? What are you going to be doing? You're going to be tuning in? Any TVs on? Phones, streaming? What are you going to be doing?
I'm not going to put anything on the TV or the phone. I'm just going to put my phone on a ringer and hopefully somebody calls. My mom's we got to redo her bedroom. We got to repaint that thing, take the floors out. I just need a distraction. I'll just sit there tapping my foot the whole time, staring at the screen. I need a project. I need something else to do. So we're going to redo my mom's bedroom, and I'll put my phone on a ringer, and when it rings in, it will go crazy.
Are you thinking about those moments where you start to see like an area code? And
yeah,
like, okay, who
exactly.
is this?
Yeah, I do. I visualize. I believe in that. They call it the law of attraction. Yeah. I believe in that, and I think about that stuff a lot. I think if you can speak it into existence and you truly believe it, it will come to you. So yeah, absolutely. I do visualize that at night before I go to bed.
That's great.
Yeah.
Give us an idea. You did an interview with me when you won the Warfield Trophy.
Yes, sir.
And you had a couple of pretty amazing stories about your dad, right? Like in Philadelphia, some circumstances, being around your dad, and you see other people's interactions. Give me a couple of the best stories you have. There's a couple wild ones you told me.
Yeah, there is. You know what? My dad spoke fluent Italian, which, again, graduated from high school to MBA, didn't go to college. He played in Italy for a couple years and somehow picked up the Italian language. So there was a time, we were driving I-95, rear-ended. Okay, typical I-95 driving, and someone gets out the car, and they're walking up, and they're speaking in Italian, just saying this, that, and the third, calling my dad, whatever, and he gets out and repeats back to him, talking something back, and the guy I'd never seen the soul leave somebody's face when they see a guy 7 foot get out of a car and speak Italian back to him. It was pretty funny to say the least, and that was in his older years. So.
And was that when did that other guy get into the accident with you?
Yeah.
So he was saying something like, this guy.
Yeah, this guy did this. This guy's a bad driver, whatever. He rear-ended us and got out, coming up to the car, and then obviously you do that. Then Darryl Dawkins gets out of the car. You're like, not the greatest feeling. And then he starts speaking Italian back to you, so he understood what you just called him. Again, you're on strike 2. You don't want to get on strike 3 because then you'll absolutely be out. So
that's funny.
Yeah, for sure.
And I remember you were telling me the story about the restaurant experience.
Fried chicken, man. They went out and got it. You know what I mean? I don't know how he can just order off the menu like that, legitimately off the menu, pull up to the restaurant. I want fried chicken. We don't have it. I need fried chicken. They went out, got a chicken, butchered it and cooked it. I mean, it's
they
crazy.
went out and found a live chicken.
I don't know where they went and got this chicken from. I don't know who. Someone knew a guy who knew a guy, and they got it done in less than 30 minutes. So,
really?
It's absurd. I don't know how. It only my dad. If I tried to pull that stunt, they tell me to get out the restaurant. So only Darryl Dawkins could have pulled that maneuver off.
That is pretty wild. So after that, did your dad start to make it a game, like thinking of all the things he could order that are not on the menu, see if they can find it quick?
This is the thing. Obviously, I met my dad later in his life, right? So he had been doing that since he was in the NBA. So he probably had been doing that for 30, 40 years. So it was probably regular to him and new to us. But that's just how he rolled, man. He was just a cool cat, definitely an alien of this society.
That's awesome. And obviously Chocolate Thunder, and he named his dunks.
Yes,
So
he did.
did you ever start naming your pancake blocks or some of the things you do on a football field?
I think we talked about that before. I definitely didn't capitalize on that NIL opportunity, which unfortunately.
The pancake
Yeah,
sponsorship
I know.
or pancake company.
I know. Yeah, I should have hired you as my NIL agent, man, and I messed up.
Did you name anything? Like get some fun nicknames because your dad's affinity for nicknames?
I'm the nickname giver outer. That's what I do. I give out nicknames to guys. Usually they don't enjoy them, but it sticks. But no, I haven't really been named. I feel like also with a nickname, you got to earn that. I know people have called me like Baby Thunder, Mocha. I want something a little more original. You know what I mean?
Right.
I definitely want, and I know you can't pick your nickname. That's not how it goes. But I need something a little original to me. So hopefully in the next couple of years, I'll earn something.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, well.
And how about B-Dawk? What's the interaction you've had with him?
Yeah, he does a lot of great work in Philadelphia and in this community. Obviously a distant relative, but definitely, there's been some talks about getting together to do some nonprofit work in Philadelphia. I know he has his Resilience Foundation, so we want to get together and do something there.
That's great.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so this is the week. We're a week out.
Yeah, we are.
So what's this going to be like for you? Do you have any other visits set up?
No, I think this was my last visit,
Okay.
which is good because I don't know if I could take another one at this point. But no, yeah, you know what? It's just sit and wait at this point. So I'm just going to keep giving myself home improvement projects and turn into Bob the Builder and see what I can do. Hopefully the house doesn't blow up. But yeah, that's what we got going on at this point.
So was there any moment you drove yourself to your meeting with the Eagles?
Yes, sir.
So as a little kid, when you dreamed of playing football, was there ever a moment you're like driving into the facility or you're walking up to the facility, you said, wow, this is where I'm at now in my life?
Yeah, today.
Did that hit you?
Yeah, it did today. I'd say today because obviously I have friends that live in Philadelphia, family, this whole city. And I guess words can't put into place just how humbling it all is. Like, no matter what happens, I've earned the opportunity to have NFL teams that have interest in me. The Philadelphia Eagles, storied franchise, Super Bowl champions. And I earned it. I earned that opportunity. I have, just like everything in people's lives. Like, no matter what happens sometimes, like, you go through adversity, resilience, people speak down on you, whatever it may be. Maybe it's earned, but it was earned. Like, this opportunity was earned, and that can't be taken away from me. So, yeah, for sure.
You walked in the door.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yeah, I did.
You walked into the door, and hopefully it's a good weekend for you.
Yes, sir.
And hopefully that room looks real nice at the end of that project.
Yeah, hopefully. I'll send you a picture. I'll send you a picture.
Great meeting with you.
Great meeting you too. Thank you,
Thanks
brother.
a lot.
Oh, mom, so flagrant.